Jeff Bezos is an American entrepreneur. He is the founder and executive chairman of Amazon.com, the largest e-commerce store in the world. He is also the third richest person in the world with a total net worth of $172 billion as of January 2024. Some of the companies that made Jeff Bezos so rich include Amazon.com, Blue Origin, and The Washington Post. Every year, Jeff Bezos commits $1 billion to Blue Origin, a space exploration company he founded in 2000. Globally, Jeff Bezos is the third richest person, with his fortune eclipsing the wealth of Microsoft Corporation co-founder Bill Gates and legendary investor Warren Buffett. As of May 2023, the Bloomberg Billionaires Index lists his net worth as $139 billion. Bezos is the founder, former chief executive officer, CEO, and now executive chair of the global e-commerce company Amazon. The company accounted for 6.5% of all U.S. retail sales and 44.9% of digital retail spending in 2022. As digitalization and the cloud computing revolution reshapes human behavior, Amazon Web Services (AWS) is forecasted to propel higher. In May 2023, Bezos reportedly got engaged to Emmy-winning journalist Lauren Sanchez, according to People. The couple made their relationship public in 2019 after Bezos filed for divorce from his wife of 25 years, Mackenzie Scott. Scott, who helped Bezos found Amazon, received a 4% stake in the company worth $36 billion at the time of their divorce. Bezos and his ex-wife reportedly did not have a prenuptial agreement, according to People. However, there are reports that Bezos will likely have a prenup with Lauren Sanchez, according to She Knows. Raised by a teen mom and Cuban immigrant stepfather, Bezos once told his school teachers, "The future of mankind is not on this planet." Jeff Bezos' boss discouraged his resigning from his stable job as a hedge fund executive with D.E. Shaw and Company to start Amazon in 1994. Jeff Bezos was born on January 12, 1964, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but was raised in Houston, Texas, before moving to Miami, Florida. Jeff Bezos graduated from Princeton University in 1986 with degrees in electrical engineering and computer science. He then started working for various companies in the tech industry when he developed an interest in the internet and e-commerce. It was then that Jeff Bezos decided to leave his job and start selling books online because he believed the internet would help him distribute books better than traditional bookstores. That's how the idea to start Amazon.com began. While still in high school, Bezos developed the Dream Institute, a center that promoted creative thinking in young students. After graduating 1986 summa cum laude from Princeton University with degrees in electrical engineering and computer science, he undertook a series of jobs before joining the New York investment bank D. Shaw and Company in 1990. Soon named senior vice president, the firm's youngest, Bezos was in charge of examining the investment possibilities of the internet. Its enormous potential, web usage was growing by more than 2,000% a year, sparked his entrepreneurial imagination. In 1994, he quit D. Shaw and moved to Seattle, Washington to open a virtual bookstore. Working out of his garage with a handful of employees, Bezos began developing the software for the site. Named after the South American river, Amazon sold its first book in July 1995. After becoming a teenager, Jeff got his first job during summer vacation. He fried potatoes and cutlets in McDonald's. In 86th year, the State University, where he actively mastered engineering and computer disciplines. Being a graduate of a prestigious educational institution, Jeff was in no hurry to start his own business. The guy preferred to build a successful career in one of the financial companies on Wall Street. From 86 to 94, he worked in 3 companies in different positions. He was involved in creating software and developing a network for international trade. At his last job, Jeff became a vice president at Desk before growing up. That's where he met his first spouse, Mackenzie, the girl who first invited Jeff to lunch together, and 3 months later they were engaged. A little later, one of the most pivotal events took place, without which Amazon might not have come into existence. In 1994, the head of the company, David Shaw, set himself the task of exploring the potential of the internet. He was very interested in the idea of commercial and social use of a single global computer network. Those were the days when only a few people knew about the internet, of which few guessed how quickly and tightly the global network will enter the life of every person. Jeff Bezos began to study the data to predict the potential of the internet, and he was very impressed with the results of his research. It turned out that according to statistics, the total user activity is increasing by 2,300% per year, or 230,000 times. Nothing can grow that fast, that was the conclusion. These numbers kept him awake and prevented him from sleeping. Then Bezos seriously thought about what kind of business can be started, knowing about the rate of rapid growth. He came up with the idea of creating an online store where you could buy anything. However, Jeff realized that at the initial stage of launching such a large-scale project is unlikely to be realized. So he decided to start small. He made a list of 20 possible categories of goods, including software, office supplies, clothes, and music. And in the end, he settled on books. But why books? Here are a few reasons that helped Jeff make his choice. He realized that he had to act quickly, otherwise someone else would start to uncover the internet commerce opportunity, and then it would be extremely difficult to compete. That's why he quit his job that same year, despite the fact that his family and friends tried to talk Jeff out of his venture. They tried to explain to him that he should not change his successful career for some bookstore, and his parents advised him to do his project on weekends or in his free time. Obviously, the pressure was powerful, but it is important to understand how Jeff Bezos thought to make such a decision. He asked himself the question of whether I would be 80 years old to dwell on the fact that I left a high-paying job at the worst possible time without waiting to receive my annual bonus. Well, it's probably not likely to bother a person who is 80 years old. But I will definitely regret for the rest of my life that I never participated in the revolutionary dawn of online trading. This reasoning helped a budding entrepreneur overcome the psychological barrier and take the first step. Jeff and his spouse Mackendy packed their bags and moved to Seattle, Washington. It was not by chance that they chose this particular city. First, Seattle had a reputation as a technology center, and second, it was located near one of the two largest book distributors. The family rented a house, and Gorage and Twidoma became the first office of the online store. It's an interesting coincidence, as many major corporations like Microsoft, Apple, and Google also started their businesses in a garage. Initially, Bezos invested in his business $10,000 of his own money, but he was especially supported by his parents, who became the first investors and gave him $100,000. And another $84,000 the entrepreneur received in the form of interest-free loans. Initially, the company was going to be called Cadabra, but the name was often perceived by people as Cadaver, which means dead body. Therefore, the company's name urgently needed to be changed. Bezos was looking through the Hey section of the dictionary, and when he got to the word Amazon, and it lit up. The Amazon is the largest river in the world, and the internet company Amazon will be the largest bookstore on the planet. Bezos and his spouse also liked another option, Relentless. Translated into Russian, it means ruthless. And although their friends thought that such a name sounds a bit sinister, but something in it attracted Bezos. In September 1994, he registered the domain name and kept it to this day. If you type relentless.com into your browser, you'll automatically be taken to Amazon's website. Initially, the site looked primitive enough, absolutely unattractive, and very slow to load. On its first page, there was a phrase written in black blue font, 1 million book titles at low prices. The company's first ever sale took place on April 3, 1995. One of Amazon's employees asked his friend John Wainwright to make a purchase on Amazon.com and experience the service that had been created. Now the name of the first customer is named after one of Amazon's dunnage. A remarkable fact, with his first desktop, Jeff Bezos weaponized from old wooden doors. In the future, this will almost become a tradition for the company. Such desks serve as a reminder of the importance of saving money. After the launch of the site, Amazon set up its first official warehouse, occupying part of the basement of a small space located in an industrial neighborhood in Seattle. The brothers in that basement was where rock bands practiced. Jeff Bezos recruited a small team of employees under the rule of 2 pizzas. According to this rule, an effective team is only possible if the number of members of the team can be fed 2 pizzas. According to Bezos, that's about 5 to 8 people. The 2-pizza rule is still in use now that Amazon is already being touted as a huge corporation. All employees are divided into small teams. This allows everyone involved to be involved, not be afraid to express their opinions, and to feel more responsible for the bottom line. But let's go back to the history of the company. In the early months, every new order was a thrill for Amazon employees. A special program was installed on the computer that would ring a bell when an order came in. As soon as the bell rang, all the employees would go to the monitor to see if the name of the customer or if anyone knew the name of the customer. After just a few weeks later, the orders got so large that the bell was ringing constantly and had to be turned off. The team felt a big boost. It looked like Jeff Bezos had finally chosen the right business idea, and the prospect of trading over the internet was no longer a dubious prospect. Soon enough, Amazon hit from the first obstacle, which Bezos very cleverly overcame. The thing is, the book suppliers had made demands for retailers to order at least 10 books per shipment. Let's say a customer ordered just 1 book from Amazon.com, then the company was required to order that book from the distributor along with 9 others. But the problem was that Amazon in those days didn't have a lot of storage space to stock the books, and the order quantities weren't that big. But Jeff Bezos found a loophole and decided to cheat. He found the rarest books that were in the catalog but were often out of stock. Knowing this, Jeff did in the following way. When a customer bought a book, the company would order a copy of the book, and 9 other copies of some kind of polemical reference book, knowing in advance that the bookseller would be out of stock. As a result, the supplier would send the right book and apologized for not being able to fulfill the order in full. Lavina-like growth of sales, the company baked in and gradually began to literally exhausting its employees, because no one expected such a dramatic rise. As they watched the situation spiral out of control, and without fail, he spared no expense and made on the fly to make any important decisions without the time to think them through. In the first few months, merchandise from Amazon were shipped to every state in the US and several dozen of other countries. In early 1996, Amazon's revenue was growing at a breakneck pace of 30 to 40% a month. The company and tensions were running high, but the option of any kind of shutdown or slowdown was not even considered. The company was in dire need of expanding of employees, opening additional warehouses and offices. There was also the very important issue of CASM, of finding innovative solutions to optimize the performance of all of Amazon's divisions. We had to adapt quickly to any changes without compromising customers. The quality of customer service was paramount, but with the often unshaven fort of their subordinates, working conditions left much to be desired. At first, the workers packed goods directly on the floor, and when one of the employees complained to the entire management about the constant pain in his legs and for spending the entire crawling around on all fours, Jeff Bezos responded, "Okay, tomorrow I'll give you on my knee." After being shocked by these words, the employee could hardly contain his rage and asked if the tables could be set up after all. After an awkward pause with genuine surprise in his eyes, the offer was dovetailed with the words, "Yes, indeed, that is a good idea." Jeff Bezos eventually began to recognize his mistakes. He did not deny that in many ways he had been wrong and that he didn't really realize the many of his subordinates' obvious problems. While he was in the process to find an investment in the company, his employees were working hard at work. During the high-selling season, most of them started right at work, and during the next long-hours shift, they were on their feet. There are even reports that in one of Amazon's warehouses, employees explained in time to pack an order they were using plastic bottles because the restroom was too far away. Delivery workers were also subjected to overwork, often leading to accidents. After all, the goods had to be brought to the customer as soon as possible. In order not to slowly pull the company out of the horrendous, the storm required investment, and Jeff Bezos managed to convince investors to invest $1 million in the development Amazon. With the fresh capital, the company modernized its server hardware and software, and the site finally had pictures of its products. The investment allowed the company to hire new employees for customer service. warehouse and technical support team. In addition, the company was able to move into a much larger facility. This was the first time Bezos was running feedback systems. Although his suppliers tried to discourage him, believing that negative comments would scare customers away, but sales continued to grow and traffic to the sites increased due to user interaction. In the summer of 1996, Amazon launched its first major innovation in the internet business. The service is now known to everyone as an affiliate program. It allowed other websites to get paid for referring their visitors to buy books directly from Amazon.com. For each referral could earn a commission at a rate of 8%. On May 15, 1997, there was an initial public offering of stock of the company. Investors have long been upset that they had invested their money in Amazon for as long as 5 years. The company didn't make them any money. The thing is, Jeff Bezos used all the profits he made exclusively to growing the company. Either we're first or we lose, that was the entrepreneur's guiding principle. Often, the company would even sell itself his bull just to gain customer loyalty and get ahead of the competition. In essence, Bezos chose a strategy of monopolizing the market. The obvious advantage it had over conventional bookstores was the fact that the nascent online bookstores was not subject to taxation. As an online retailer, Amazon didn't pay taxes on its profits, so it could sell its goods cheaper. And a lot of times it was a situation that people would go to a bookstore just to browse through the books and decide what they wanted to buy. And then they would leave the store and order on Amazon, where the prices were always lower. Even today, the company builds its business on tax evasion. It's doing a lot better than any other firm. Back in 2000, the dot-com bubble burst, and hundreds of internet companies went bankrupt. Thanks to the right strategy, Amazon, although it suffered a lot, but still managed to survive the hard times. Crisis. The company even had enough money to buy the businesses to buy some of its competitors' businesses after falling into debt. In doing so, Bezos proved to shareholders the sustainability of his internet project, and those of them who financially backed the company during the recession and didn't sell their shares are now quite rich. After all, at the time, the price per share of stock was only $7. And today, one share is worth over $3,000, and this growth. And many analysts predict that this growth will continue along with the continued growth and expansion Amazon. Back to the story when Jeff Bezos started out. Set himself 2 benchmarks. If by the year 2000, his company sells $74 million worth of merchandise a year, that would be a normal operating result. The most optimistic was $144 million, which was considered unlikely. But what was Bezos' delight when, in 2000, Amazon's sales topped $1.5 billion. It was no longer just the biggest bookstore, it was no longer just the largest bookstore. Diverse. Visitors to Amazon's website could browse of music, CDs, toys, and electronics. Then it is to consider another character trait of Jeff Bezos. He is greatly annoyed by idle talk and inattentiveness. If an entrepreneur is engaged in something, he's completely immersed in the process. When communicating, Bezos is as attentive and focused on any of his employees. In meetings of the company's executives, he noticed that after a meeting, the participants leave without having reached a full depth of understanding of the processes. As a consequence, they were often prone to making bad decisions. They were inattentive and they were shallow. This made the Amazon founder very angry because a meeting is an important procedure, the results of which has an impact on the company's performance. We are the decision we make. This is the conclusion that Jeff Bezos once came to. He completely changed the format of the meeting. No more PowerPoint presentations. Now every person in the meeting had to write out their thoughts, ideas, and suggestions on 4 sheets of A4 paper. Most of the time, the meeting was held in complete silence as the managers took turns to carefully read their colleagues' presentations, and only then they would begin the discussion. According to Bezos, such detailed, structured presentations provide the context for to make good decisions. Detailed statements of one's thoughts on 4 sheets of paper is much more difficult than putting together a 20-slide presentation. It requires a deeper thought process and a more precise understanding of what is essential and what is not. After all, this kind of presentation of your thoughts is not written in an hour or even a day, but it can take weeks to create. It's written then and then it's thought about and revised, and sometimes it's rewritten several times over. This intellectual labor on four pages is hundreds of times more valuable than millions of words of idle chatter. Frequent deliberation leads to an appreciation the essence of the facts, as well as the emergence of new ideas. To other employees, this form of broadcasting seemed to be a hell of an ordeal. Yes, Jeff Bezos is ruthless. As part of his business, he can't stand inefficient people. In 1999, Amazon pontificated on one-click technology. The idea is to allow customers to buy items on the company's website with just one click. This was something at the time. Bezos spent a lot of time to make his customers' shopping experience for his customers. He shared all of this with an interface designer. The employee took into account all the wishes of Jeff Bezos and developed a system that included presetting of the customer's credit card details and preferred delivery address, which then provided the ability to make a purchase with a single at the touch of a button. This seemingly minor new introduction has resulted in a much simpler shopping experience and accelerated sales growth. That same year, Bezos realized another ambitious goal. The entrepreneur noticed the fact that technology companies are keen to market their platform. Microsoft is a prime example. Their ubiquitous Windows operating system has become the platform that third-party software developers have used to create their products. The head of Amazon thought it would be a good idea to create their own shopping platform that could be used by other retailers for e-commerce. Bezos thought, since competitors aren't going anywhere and will be trading anyway, let them trade using our platform and pay us a commission for it. For a large number of third-party sellers, this proposal turned out to be favorable. After all, they could sell their goods using Amazon's site, using an established and functioning system, thus having access to its multi-million-dollar customer base. Today, that service is called Marketplace. Amazon charges its third-party sellers a commission for each sale, and for an additional fee, the seller can free himself from all responsibilities related to storage and delivery of goods, as all this is taken care of by Amazon. In 2005, the company announced the launch of Amazon Prime service. It was a paid subscription costing $13 a month, the main advantage of which was fast and free delivery. Sometimes the goods were delivered right on the day of the order. The service was aimed at people who regularly purchase items online, and the company saw an opportunity to tie those customers to Amazon so they would order from competitors as infrequently as possible. The Amazon Prime service performed well and was another strong point for the company. In January 2020, Amazon announced that Prime has more than 150 million subscribers in 19 countries, and today, in addition to fast free shipping, other features are available for subscribers. As you know, on big discount days, valuable items can sell out in minutes. But for those who have an Amazon Prime subscription, access to ordering such goods opens up 30 minutes earlier than regular shoppers, which creates additional benefits. Also, thanks to this service, subscribers can watch movies, TV series, and read books for free. Bezos assembled a dedicated team tasked with creating web services, marking the beginning of what we now call the cloud, which refers to the storage of files on the internet. Today, Amazon Web Services is a successful business selling elements of computer infrastructure, including storage, databases, and computing power. Amazon pioneered the cloud computing market and discovered a highly profitable line of business. For example, Instagram and even Netflix rent out space and computing power from Amazon. Jeff Bezos keeps a financial metric characterizing the profitability of this project a secret. Analysts estimate that in 2012 alone, Amazon earned over $2 billion from leasing their high-performance servers. This demonstrates that success in business requires adaptability and willingness to embrace new and unfamiliar things. Jeff Bezos not only embraces change, but also creates conditions that surpass the rest of the market. In the early 2000s, the head of Amazon observed the emerging ebook market and succeeded where others had failed. The ebook makers themselves admitted defeat as their devices could not replicate the experience of reading a physical book, the rustle of its pages, the smell of the paper, and the beautiful illustrations. However, Bezos saw great potential in ebooks and developed his own reading device, recognizing the weaknesses of the competition and understanding that they could only offer customers a fraction of what digital books could offer. Bezos assembled a dedicated team that was tasked with creating web services, and that was the beginning of what we now call the cloud, which is cloud storage of files on the internet. Today, Amazon Web Services appear to be a profitable business selling elements of computer infrastructure, including storage, information databases, and computing power. Amazon pioneered the cloud computing market and discovered an extremely lucrative line of business. For example, Instagram and even a company as big as Netflix rent out space and computing power from Amazon. Jeff Bezos keeps a financial metric that characterizes the profitability of this project a secret. According to analysts, in 2012 alone, Amazon earned more than $2 billion thanks to the lease of its high-performance servers. From this, we can conclude that over time, everything changes and many things lose their relevance. To be successful in business, you have to be able to adapt and not be afraid of new and unfamiliar things. Jeff Bezos not only is not afraid of change, but he also creates conditions that surpass the rest of the market. In the early 2000s, the head of Amazon observed the emerging ebook market and realized its potential. While others had failed, Bezos saw an opportunity to create a reading device that would offer customers hundreds of thousands of books with the ability to instantly download any of them. Amazon began working on the Kindle despite resistance from donors who feared a drop in demand for printed books. As punishment, Amazon would drop them from its search and recommendation engines on its online store, resulting in a decrease in their book sales. Jeff Bezos hurried to launch the Kindle, fearing that donors might change their minds. By 2007, 90,000 books were digitized and the Kindle was released to the world. The project was so successful that all devices were sold out in just 5.5 hours, despite the price of $3.99. In 2018, the company announced the opening of an offline Amazon Go store. This unexpected move left many people bewildered by the Mocha mistake. How come Amazon, owning one of the largest online retailers in the world, suddenly decided to venture into offline commerce? It turns out that in this direction as well, Jeff Bezos and his team found a way to surprise everyone. It's likely that many of you have dreamed of just walking into a store, quickly picking up your groceries, and leaving in peace. Without having to stand in line and wait for a cashier to scan every item, even the self-service checkout lines wouldn't be needed. That's exactly the kind of fantasy that Amazon has managed to turn into a reality. A store without a line where there's no cash register and no cashiers. Upon entering the store, a customer has to scan a QR code, after which they can take the goods they need and leave the store. In this case, payment for all the goods is automatic. At the moment when the buyer leaves the sales hall and passes through the turnstile, the purchase amount is deducted from their account. Everything is simple. Just pop in for a minute, take what you need, and leave. But how does the system determine what items a visitor takes? The exact tracking mechanism has not yet been disclosed, but we do know that Amazon uses smart cameras as well as automatic scanners for objects. Let me know in the comments if you would like to shop in such a store. Jeff Bezos became incredibly wealthy through the success of Amazon, the e-commerce giant he founded in 1994. His visionary leadership, customer-centric approach, and innovative business strategies led Amazon to dominate the online retail market. Additionally, Amazon Web Services, AWS, and other ventures expanded his wealth. Entrepreneurs can draw inspiration from Bezos's relentless innovation and customer focus in building their own successful businesses.